Well, it says I'm live, so we'll see. Am I live? Hey guys! Pinephone is faster than Nexus 5. Actually, that's not true. So anyway, welcome people, and I have a Pinephone right here and a Nexus 5. This is a very nice looking Nexus 5 in red. So if you want one of these, I have one in red. So guys, welcome. And I'm only broadcasting on YouTube here. I'm not doing Periscope. So welcome folks, and we're going to talk about all the new things that have happened this week relating to the Pinephone. So hold on a second while I monitor you from right here, from right in front, so I don't have to look down. Welcome guys, and there's so many of you already waiting for the broadcast before I even started, and it's good. It's a good thing that I kind of gave you like a 24-hour advance notice of the broadcast. So if any of you were looking at my channel, you would have seen the broadcast. And so many of you here already. So let's see. Pats Fan, hello Pats Fan, Iron Fist, Galvano, Mad Cow, Stream. I'm in it. What is this? Isaac Nix, Finer Details, Robin, hello Robin, and Eagle Swords, and yep. So hopefully I didn't miss anyone. AMG, hello, welcome folks. So I'm looking at you from two screens here, so it's a little easier. I'm going to try to look more here, so I can kind of look at the camera at the same time, so I don't have to look away. The Nexus 5 also comes in white. Pretty neat. Yeah, I sold a white, but I have to tell you, this is the one that's in the best condition. So I actually have never seen one in such a good condition as this one. This one is in very nice shape. So this one is only 16 gigabytes, but it's so clean looking. And yeah, so yes, I have one of these in the 16 gigabyte model. If you want a red one, just let me know, because I didn't advertise it as red. So anyway, this has been pretty cool. Anyway, yes, if you're thinking about getting a Pinephone, I don't think you need to rush getting into a Pinephone right now. Actually, you probably should get a Nexus 5 and then plan on this for a little later, because you can't even get one right now anyway. You can't get one of these. So this is a Pinephone, and I'm going to talk about this all night, and we're going to talk about what this thing can do. And that's Brax.me, by the way. So it's running my app. So that's the app drawer. And I'll tell you where this is right now, but it's coming along. It's not yet done, and we're going to talk about all the details about this. Some of you have some funny comments about, oh my gosh, I am so happy to make a phone call using the command line. Things like that. Oh, I have to use the modem on a command line. Okay, I got to turn on the Wi-Fi from terminal using sudo command. So yeah, I understand the joke, but we're going to talk about where this is right now and where this is going to be. So I'm the one of the 3,000 people, or less than 3,000, because there's still a batch of them that hasn't shipped. But I'm one of 3,000 people that have will have currently a Braveheart Pinephone. So this is not a demo model. This is actually mine. I purchased it. It is mine. And I'll tell you what's good, what's bad, where it is. And you saw my video on unboxing the thing, but it was a brief video, and I had a chance now to play with it and track where it is, and you're going to find out where it is. In the meantime, to be honest with you, this is what I use as my daily driver. This is what I use for everything else. Let me just, yeah, this is what I use for everything else. Okay, and this is a Nexus 5, happens to be red. This is a Nexus 5 16 gigabytes. And yeah, this works for me. So I'll tell you where this is compared to where this is. And yes, I'm thinking that this is going to be really fantastic, the Pinephone, and you're going to be really pleased with this when the time comes. It's not there yet, but you are going to be really pleased with this, and we're going to talk about why we would even consider having this instead of hold on, kind of like yeah, why that instead of this thing? You know, I do have this. Okay, so why am I like why am I more interested in this versus this? I mean, you should wonder, because I'm getting some comments on YouTube that's like saying that I'm stupid. So for those people saying I'm zucking stupid for showing you this and getting excited about this because you happen to have this, if you happen to have this, I'm going to say to you that maybe you're the stupid one because you don't know what's going on. If you have this, you are the stupid one. This has no SIM card. Folks, I don't put any SIM cards in this. I need to have one for development, but I'm telling you that the only thing I do on this thing is Kindle. That is the only thing I do with this phone. I use Kindle. I don't do anything else on this phone. So for this expensive Zucker that I paid $1,400 for, $1,400 for this, $1,400 for this, folks, when it was brand new. If I even break this or drop this, it would cost me $700 to repair this. $700. Okay, this phone is $150 plus shipping. So 10%, sucking 10% of this one from Tim Cook. Tim Cook's phone is 10 times more. So for those guys that come at me from leaving all those comments on my channel saying, "Oh, you're so stupid," I'm saying you're the stupid one. Okay, how much did this cost? $60. $60. And what am I doing with this? Well, of course, if you buy it from me, I have to add $99 for the programming, but there it is. I'm running Ubuntu Touch on this. Ubuntu Touch. So we're going to talk about all this tonight. It's going to be exciting. And let me read your comments because I kind of wasn't reading comments while I was doing that. So let me, yes, Kindle Wi-Fi, yes. Okay, hold on. Let me back up here. Pat's fan. So I have a red one. You have a red one too, and a CG7500 with earphones. What is a CG7500? I don't have that. That's some sort of special headphones. I have a Sony W something. Pretty fancy Sony headphones. Jellyfish. Hello, John Richardson. Mahuko. The Zircon, hello, Gnostic. Other than having a lens made, so that's what makes a Pinephone better than all the other backdoors are built into the hardware. Go watch my videos on who's spying on your phone. That's a good question. That is actually very smart of you. Okay, Mama Goo, hello, Mad Cow. And Nick. Hello, Nick Johnson. And who else am I missing here? Okay, so what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk obviously about the Pinephone, but yes, is it ready? As some of you are making snide remarks about it, because you have to do a command line to make a call. Come on, folks. This is the Braveheart edition, and the Braveheart edition means this did not come with any programs. It didn't come with anything. This was shipped with a test program. This didn't come with anything. The way you use this thing is you have to open it up. I'm going to open it up for you. It's very easy. You can do it with your fingernail. You don't need a tool. Somebody said, oh, you didn't use a tool to open this? You do not need a tool to open this. You just use your fingernail, hit the corner, and it opens up very, very easily. And it's actually very nice. I mean, the build quality, it's heavy. You might think that, because it's seemingly made of plastic, that it's going to be like plasticky. And I have some Android phones that I would classify as plasticky. This is not. It's actually without the back cover. This cover is just plastic. This cover is just plastic, okay? But taking the cover aside and just feeling the whole thing here, it's very solid. It's very well made. Actually, let me just compare here. Yeah, it's about the same. It's, and this is made of glass. As you know, this is the iPhone, and it's made of glass. And glass and metal. And I would say it's about the same weight. Yep. It's about the same weight. It's not that much different. And you can see from screen quality, let me just compare the brightness here. Hold on a second. So that you see. Hold on, I'm not seeing your comments here. But let me just face zucking ID. Yes. Has to do facial recognition for me to even show it. But in terms of screen brightness, they're about the same. Oops, this shut down from a timeout. Of course, I don't have a case, so it's hard to press the button. Okay, they're about the same in brightness. It's very good. The quality, the clarity of the text, very small text. It's actually about the same. This is a Retina screen. This is a iPhone 10 Retina screen. I mean, it's pretty small stuff. It's pretty small thing. So I'm showing Brax Me here, and I mean, it's really, really tiny, and I can read it just as well. So from a screen point of view, you can see there's the iPhone. If you're saying you're losing a lot from being on this, no. Okay, an iPhone is much faster. I'm going to tell you right now. CPU on this is blazingly fast, So iPhone is a blazingly fast CPU. But I didn't pay $1,400 for this. I paid $150 plus shipping. $150 plus shipping and tax. Because it's a California company, you have to pay tax. So no, not bad. Okay, so is it ready? No, it's not ready. It's not ready, but I am very sure it will be ready. I'm sure it will be ready, and we're going to talk about that. But it is not bad at all. Now, for my daily use, I don't use the iPhone. As I mentioned, I use this phone, or one of them. This is a Ubuntu Touch. I use whatever I have. I have a stack of Nexus 5s. So if I sell one, and whatever I haven't sold, I use it, and then I transfer my data over, and then when it's sold, then I switch over. So this is one of the ones that you can buy, and I use this right now. if you want to buy this red one. This red one is actually very, very nice. So I'm actually, this is only 16 gigabytes, but it is so clean. It's very, very clean phone. So, and I really like it. So this is a Nexus 5, and it's very, very functional for me. And I'm running Braxme here, my app, very, very well. And it has cloud music. You can use, YouTube, Twitter, all that. Everything's fine. So why this? And why the Pinephone? Why? And I'm not going to put the back cover back so you can see. But let me just show you again a little bit more. Hope it's in focus here. Hold on. Because some people were complaining about the fact that my video was not in focus, and if you don't make the videos, then stop sucking complaining. Okay, it's not easy to do this. Okay, so there's the I'm gonna try to keep it as so you can see the innards of that. The battery is very, very easy to take out. Okay, so there. It's really easy to take out. I mean, I can take it out 100 times a day, which I do. And it's very, very easy. And the SD card, I don't have a SIM card on it, but there's the SD card. And you just remove it. You have to put it on the top one, the bottom one. There's two slots in there. The bottom slot is for the SIM card. The top slot is for the SD card. So if you get one of these and you put it on the wrong slot like I did, it's not going to work. Okay, so there we go. You see this little 4 little contacts there? That's actually made for external devices. You can plug on this later on. They're thinking about things like keyboards and different kinds of devices. These are like GPIO on a Raspberry Pi. You can use this for that. This is the modem, which gets kind of warm. Okay, and it's very, very well constructed. I really have nothing negative to say about the build quality. It's done well. You're not gonna get this phone and say, wow, it looks cheap. It does not look cheap. Because of the difference with the cost of the Librem 5, some people have actually said, oh, it's got to be like a cheapo plastic thing compared to the heavier Librem 5. No. It's actually pretty good. I mean, the quality is very good, and I'll tell you some of the problems with it if you're used to phones. We're going to be frank with you, but generally speaking, it's a very nice phone. I'm going to put the cover back on now so I can turn it on. Okay, so Pinephone hat, yes. So that's a for those of you who don't understand what the implications of these are, this is potentially a Raspberry Pi with LTE and a screen. This is a Raspberry Pi with LTE, not just LTE, but LTE with a screen and touch screen capability, Bluetooth, everything, all included in this little device. So even if you didn't want to use this as a phone, I could find a lot of uses for $150. I couldn't make one of these for $150 using a Raspberry Pi. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of things I can do with this. I can make this as a Wi-Fi router, and plugging in my Wi-Fi router right here. This is my router that I sell. This is a Raspberry Pi, and this can put a VPN in your house, wired. So think about that, making your house network a VPN with this device. Brax Wi-Fi available in my store at rob.brax.me. So anyway, and it can automatically have my VPN on it, Bytes VPN, which is the sponsor of this video, which is me. So I'm saying it's sponsored by me because I am Bytes VPN. Anyway, hello, Mark. Mark, how are you doing? Okay, so Faraz, hello, Faraz, Josmo, Mark Cardinal, Iron Fist, who did I miss? Jellyfish, who did I miss here? Only the cam I don't like. Good point. Okay, so Drac, who else did I miss? Sorry, I haven't been reading the comments. Pizza, Josmo. Okay, Sean. Very Os, Mumbling, Soup, Mahuko. Wow, there's a lot of you here. Okay, thank you for leaving comments. I appreciate it. Hopefully you hit like as well. If you're going to watch the video, be nice to hit the like so that YouTube thinks we're doing okay as a channel. And thank you guys. We are going to be at 10,000 subscribers very soon. Very, very soon. Definitely in a couple of weeks, even less. So thank you. Thank you. I've been hoping to get to 10,000 and it looks like it's going to happen shortly. So that's really, really great. Okay, so back to talking about the devices here. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're looking for a device, you cannot buy this. You cannot buy a Pinephone right now. It's sold out. Okay, so we're one of the lucky ones who got the first batch. This is going to be running for us. It's going to be fully running for us, I expect, in about a month for some OSs like Ubuntu Touch. Ubuntu Touch will be running on this. I am certain it will be running on this in about a month. I am certain. Well, as certain as we can be in life, but I am very positive that this will be good enough to be used as a daily driver about a month from now, and I'm very, very pleased with that. So, and that's one choice, and shortly after that, we probably will have more options. And we're going to talk a lot about Ubuntu Touch today as well. But yes, this is Ubuntu Touch booting right now, so I'm going to let it boot, and I'll tell you the problems with the phone as well. So it's not all good news; it's all good news, and there's good news and bad news. Build quality is definitely not an issue. I'm very, very happy to report, and I am in touch with people from Pine64 daily. I talk to Lucas every day from Pine64. He gives me updates daily, and I also am in touch with the owner of Pine64, TL Lim. So What's a little bit different with my relationship with Pine64 versus Librem 5, I've had very little contact with the Purism people, even though I bought one. And I'm not going to have... yeah, you can make this a hotspot, Robin. I haven't really, except for one comment made by somebody from Purism on my broadcast, I really haven't had any contact with Purism, and I'm excited to get that contact too. And I'm certainly, I bought a Librem 5 in case you think that I'm biased against Librem 5. I ordered Librem 5, so I support all of these projects, and I expect to get my Librem 5 in the Evergreen batch, which will be probably around May. I'm going to get around May. So, which is a long ways away. So in the meantime, I'm going to say that the Pine64 will be ready probably in a month. Now, some of you are asking, will this be the production model, or are they going to make changes to this for the production model? Well, I don't know, because in theory, this is really a production level quality already. I mean, from production side, it doesn't seem like there's a problem with the build quality on this, but I'm going to tell you there are some issues with this, and that you need to know about, and it has to do with the kill switches. Okay, the background art was made by Snarky Art from Periscope, and I commissioned her to do the artwork over there. So here you can get the artwork in focus. So you can see what the artwork is. So that was a commission to Snarky Art from Periscope and Twitch. Okay, I'm gonna remove the cover here for a moment. And you can see that there are dip switches. Very, very hard to see, I know. So right there are the dip switches. They're very tiny. When you see my finger, you can see how tiny it is. Okay? Putting in a side view there so you can see the shadow. Okay, now it is not possible to flip that with your finger, no. But a little trick that you can actually do is you can use the SD card itself to flip the switch. So I can flip the switch. I can flip the switch using the SD card. Yes, I just switched it. I switched the modem off with the SD card. Okay, trying to get the camera here to focus. Okay, so let me tell you what the problem is. If you plug in the power with the switch off, kill switch off for the modem is still hot. So it makes me wonder then if I really switched it off. So, and then some people have tested turning off the Wi-Fi with the switch and they were still able to access the network. So we may have some issues with the kill switch. I don't have an answer to it yet. I've asked the question from Pan64. I don't have an answer yet. But there's some issues with the kill switch. So is the kill switch actually killing or not? So at the moment, it doesn't seem like it is. So that's one of the issues with the phone. Okay, so just being frank with you about some of the issues. Okay, let me just turn on the power. Okay, I use a sewing needle to flip them. You don't need the SD card is handy because it's always there. Is the Morse code key in front of the barometer? Blue pill all. I don't know why feds want to live upstairs from me. Okay, so some of you are laughing. Why am I showing as there was somebody who made a comment on my video and said, that is so 2011 or something like that. Okay. To the person who made a comment that this is Zucking 2011. Zuck you, mother Zucker. That's what I can tell you right now. Zuck you. This is your idea. This is your idea of high tech. Yes. Zuck you. This is your idea of high tech. Okay, so you're saying, oh, I mean, goodness, you're like showing us some old tech in there and like you're so backward and this is high tech. So this is a zucking spy device. You cannot turn off the spying on this, no matter what you zucking do. This knows where you go. It even tells you you're 5 minutes from your zucking destination. By the way, this is Adult Beverage Friday, so if you don't know that. Now, happy Valentine's, people. Happy Valentine's. I didn't even say that. Happy Valentine's. And yes, I've had adult beverages before the broadcast. And yes, there's a zucking spy phone. So if you're like saying to me, oh, Zuck, your technology is so zucking old with that zucking Pinephone. It's so 2011. And my answer to you is, Zuck you! Stick to your zucking spy device. You like this? Okay, because you're a zucking idiot if you like this and you want to be spied on all zucking day, and this thing is like tracking everything you zucking do, and I'm so sick of it. Folks, sick of the spying of this. This does not leave my house. This has no SIM card. The only internet this handles is zucking VPN internet from my wired VPN network. This does not go on the standard internet. This does not have a SIM card. This is a zucking spy device. This tracks my location every day. It already knows my location, so it knows that I don't leave the zucking house. Because it doesn't even leave my bedside, because this doesn't go anywhere. I only use it to read Kindle. So if you're so zucking proud that you have some new zucking tech, I'm saying to you, zuck you, mother zuckers. Zuck you. Have your zucking spy device. Okay? This is not the channel for zucking spy devices. This is the zucking channel to learn how to not have zucking spy devices. That's why we have this. The only zucking, non-zucking spy devices I have is running Linux phones. Now, yes, I have another one that's running LuneOS. I don't have it with me right this moment. I don't have a SIM card on it right now. That's fine too. It does not have Google on it. So that's fine. You can use that. But no zucking spy devices on this channel, folks. No zucking spy devices on this channel. So if you're telling me that I'm so backward and I should live in a cave because I don't, I show you these kinds of devices which look so old to you, then zuck you, mother zucker. I'll tell you how I really feel, Elon Musk. Okay, so what do you bring out of the house? This is what I bring out of the house right now. Ubuntu Touch. Okay, now, let me just tell you about Ubuntu Touch. Let's talk about Ubuntu Touch for a moment. I made several videos. I made several videos about Ubuntu Touch, and some of you, and I even made a frank video about Ubuntu Touch, which is not necessarily positive. The third one, two positive ones and one that's not positive, and because I want to be frank with you about the limitations of Ubuntu Touch, and I use Ubuntu Touch. Okay, it's if I want a safe phone, I'm going to use Ubuntu Touch right now. If there's other options, I'll let you know. But at the moment, the preferred device on my end, if you want a safe phone, is Ubuntu Touch. Please don't ask me what is a safe phone to use. I'm going to tell you, use a Linux phone. It's the safest phone you can possibly have. Is it perfect? No, but it's about as close to perfect as I can get, and definitely anything that's running Android or anything else is nowhere near perfect. Anything that uses anything Google is not perfect. It's going to be tracking you like crazy. So if you want to be safe, if you don't want to be tracked, if you don't want some third party knowing everything you do and all the goings on every day, yes, this is the device that will do it. I have location turn off on this, and it's amazing. There's a certain feeling that you get when you go out somewhere and you realize, wow, nobody knows where I am. Well, that's not true. The government could know where you are. But aside from that, aside from the government, if you don't want the government to know where you are, take off the SIM card. So let's say you left the SIM card on. Okay? So in theory, you can use the Pinephone and turn off the modem by turning off the kill switch, but I have a problem with the kill switch right now with this. I don't know if it's actually, done correctly. So I'm worried that they may have to change the circuitry on this because of some error in the circuitry of the kill switch on the Pinephone, in which case the Pinephone needs to be revised, and that might cause a delay. So I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but I can tell you right now, if you power it on with a USB-C power, the Quectel modem that's on it is hot with the kill switch on, meaning it's getting power. So that is trouble. So, somebody gave me a super chat. Thank you. Who was that? I didn't even notice who gave me the super chat. Let me go back up here. Finer E-Tails, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Sorry that I missed that. I was talking while I was doing it. Anyway, yeah, that's one of the faults on the Pinephone is the kill switches is not guaranteed right now that they work. So that's probably one of the bigger negatives on the physical device that I have that is not certain at the moment. Other than that, the physical quality, everything else. Let me tell you about some other negatives on the device that really impact real use, and unfortunately, it's not going to be solved soon. And one of them is, and I know it's made to cut down on cost, but one of them is that the Wi-Fi does not have 5 gigahertz. It's only 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, running all the way up only to N. There's no AC, so the Wi-Fi tends to be on the slow side. Okay, so Wi-Fi is on the slow side. The LTE is probably okay. We'll find out when I have LTE on it. I haven't actually used LTE on it yet, so that's probably going to be fine. But the Wi-Fi is not the fastest. The camera is not the best. Camera is only 2 megapixel, so it's very low grade camera. And the CPU is also not the fastest. However, it's actually it's not bad. It's kind of equivalent to the Nexus 5. CPU wise, they're about, they seem to be close. I mean, performance wise, they operate pretty similarly. So with this being a bigger screen, but this is some advantages I'll talk about later on. The Pinephone has some advantages that are different than the Nexus 5. If you simply want, I'm going to tell you right now, if you want a phone that's going to be safe for you and you don't have a Pinephone and you want to have a safe phone that's not a spy phone like the Zucking iPhone here, okay, or you're Zucking Android, if you don't want one of those, then I do have these Nexus 5 that I sell. I bought a bunch of Nexus 5s and I sell them, and I buy them at cost, and I add $99 to the price to install Ubuntu Touch, and I pre-configure it for you. So if you can install you can install Ubuntu Touch yourself. If you don't want to go to that trouble, I'll do it for you, and I sell these. I have several in stock right now. I just got a bunch. I sold a few already. And I got a bunch of these, so if you want to buy these, just go to my store, rob.brax.me, rob.brax.me. It's on my profile, and I still have some of these. I have 2 of these in 16 gigabytes, and I have a black one. This is a red one, and I have 2 black ones at 32 gigabytes. So, and then I have a kind of a more beat up one that I'm selling for a lot cheaper. So if you want the beat up one, it runs fine. It's just, the back cover doesn't close completely, so you may have to glue it or something. I didn't do that. I'm showing you exactly how it is. If you want to put some glue on there or something sticky to close the back cover, it's open a notch. You can do that, but I'm selling that for a lot cheaper, and that's available. But this is a very good daily driver. I don't have a problem with this. This is what I'm using every day, and I'm very, very pleased with this. Although this has, as a development phone, this has so much potential for later on. And not for everyone, but for me, somebody like me, a programmer, the Pinephone has some advantages. Now, where is the Pinephone today? The Pinephone is not ready today. Some people are insulting me on my chats and saying some negative things, saying, "Oh, I don't need to make a call with a command line, because you do have to do command line on it for something because they don't have it hooked up to the OS yet." Let me just tell you the OS options on the Pinephone. This is different than a Librem 5 Purism. And I'll tell you what the difference is. Librem 5 is being released using Phosh. And by the way, you can load Phosh on this as well. Pure OS and Phosh from Librem 5, from Purism. And again, I ordered that, so I obviously wish them well since I'm going to get one. But I don't have one yet. And that is quite a bit more than this. This is $150. The Librem 5 was $700, and I paid, I don't know, it's close to $750 with tax and everything. So it's quite a bit, multiple times more expensive than this. And this one is very thin. It's just like a regular phone. The Librem 5 is very thick. Okay? So this is more like a regular phone and $450. The Librem 5 is not much it's a little bit faster in CPU than this, but surprisingly not that much more. If you look at the specs, I'm going to guess that Librem 5 maybe 20, maybe 30% faster than this. Not that much. It's not going to be like double in speed or quadruple in speed. They use close to the same CPU. The Librem 5 has a better camera, but other than that, this is actually not bad. I'm actually surprised how well they made this. And I have, as far, like I said, build quality wise, it's just very, very positive things to say about the Pinephone. Now, what's different though is the projects. The Pinephone is being supported by independent companies that Purism is not really pushing on the Librem 5. So the Pinephone is being supported by Ubuntu Touch or UBports, the UBports community for Ubuntu Touch. It's being supported by KDE with KDE Neon running Plasma Mobile, and Post-Market OS running Plasma Mobile. It's being supported by Post-Market OS with Phosh, which is from Librem 5, from the Librem 5. It's being supported by LuneOS, which is from the old Palm OS days, WebOS, and now they have that. I haven't tried that. They're not ready yet. And it's also being supported by Sailfish OS. There are so many options, and again, I can't try that because they haven't released the code yet. So there are so many possibilities with this. That's really exciting. I'm going to guess that in a couple of months, you're going to have so many options on this. Right now, we can try 3 out pretty easily on the Pinephone. You can try out Post-Market OS with Plasma Mobile, Post-Market OS with Phosh, and then Ubuntu Touch. Now, to be frank with you, Ubuntu Touch is way ahead. I'm going to be frank. I've been using Ubuntu Touch for many months now on my Nexus 5 and my OnePlus One, and let me just tell you about Ubuntu Touch, because if you don't know Ubuntu Touch, you need to know about it. And I told you that Ubuntu Touch is a little bit different. It does not work like Android, and you may not like the interface. The interface is different. You have to get used to it. Okay, you have to get used to it. Okay, but once you get used to it, it's great. You just have to get used to it, and there are things that I'd rather didn't do. There's something I didn't like about it. So you know what I did? There was something about the behavior, the Nexus of the Ubuntu Touch that I kind of hated. I mean, I really kind of got pissed off using it. So you know what I did? I changed it. It's open source. I changed my own phone. I made a change. I submitted the change to UBports, and I don't know if they're gonna take my change or not. It doesn't really matter to me because I can use my own version for me, because I like my method for me. And if somebody doesn't like it, then they don't have to use my method. But my method is what works for me, so I can put it on my own phone. And that's the nice thing about an open source package. Ubuntu Touch is much more developed than the others, and partly, to give you a little bit of history, it's because Canonical made a lot of changes, a lot of work to make the interface over the years. And they made some choices about the design, and it's very deep. And though you may not agree with the choices, it's very thought out, at least in their opinion. And for that reason, it's a very stable platform. So on top of that, you have a community of people. There's many developers who are contributing to the Ubuntu Touch project. And if you don't know this, and you go to the GitLab, where they have the source code, and you can see all the comments there and the changes that are being made. I mean, my goodness, there are changes there ducking daily. It is moving so fast with many people contributing to it. It is amazing what the community is doing with it. And they're moving so fast. And this is one of the things that is different than, let's say, Plasma Mobile from KDE and LuneOS and so all this, that they don't have the size of the community that's contributing to UBports, including me. I mean, I contributed to UBports. So if I'm going to make a choice as far as what's going to be ready shortly, I'm going to say UBports, Ubuntu Touch, will be ready with the Pinephone definitely within a month and maybe even 2 weeks. It could be very functional in 2 weeks already, but I'm going to give it a month to stabilize some issues. And it's running completely as a daily driver on my Nexus 5. So for those of you who don't have a Pinephone, yeah, just get a Nexus 5 and you'll be fine. Okay, this is the same thing. Okay, so it will be possible to change to different OSs on the Pinephone at a later time, and you can even switch to 2. You can carry different OSs if you want. It will be great. And exactly, it's evolving a lot faster than Librem 5 because a bigger community is involved. There's so many programmers involved. Even I made some changes, like I said. So I mean, this is what I bring out of the house, Robin, a Ubuntu Touch phone. So if you don't have one of these, get a Nexus 5. And I have several here if you want Nexus 5s, pre-configured with Ubuntu Touch. Please stop pointing that iPhone camera at us. Okay, so I'm thinking that 2020 is getting exciting for me because I have a phone finally that does so little spying. The spying actually only comes from the cell modem. The apps don't spy on me, and the operating system doesn't spy on me. The only spying can occur from the cell modem. So if you take off the SIM card, then obviously they can't spy on you. So if you're going to go to a protest, take off the SIM card. Otherwise, then leave it alone. So This is the only device that I know of that does no spying on you. No apps are spying on you. They have no mechanisms to spy on you here. They have no identity. They don't actually know who you are. I don't know if you know this. Think about it. You have an Android, right? The Android knows who you are. The Android knows your Gmail address. The Android can track your Gmail activity, can track everything you do on YouTube and everything else. Combine all that and create a profile of you and your activities. They don't have that on anything to do with Linux. Linux anything doesn't have that information. You know, this is a completely different thought process to run a Linux phone. It's amazing when you think about it that finally we have something that can keep us safe. So Linux phones are the only option at the moment. Not these Zuckers. Not this. This is not your option. What did Tim Cook say? The Zucking privacy phone. Zuck you, Tim Cook. This is no Zucking privacy phone. See that camera? It's probably spying on you. No. So I'm a developer, so I have to have the phone, but I don't use it. So, I'd rather have Linux phones everywhere. So that's my thing. Okay, back to the Pinephone and the different OSs. So I believe that in a month, this will be ready to be a daily driver using Ubuntu Touch. I think the other platforms will be later than that. Sailfish OS might be ready at the same time. Can't really be certain. LuneOS, I actually haven't tried LuneOS yet. Because they don't have a download I can use at the moment. So if somebody has a link to LuneOS, I'd like to try out whatever they have. I think what they have is an older version. I don't have a download of anything newer, and I don't want to load an older version on this. But I'm going to tell you that by summer, you're going to have many, many choices on this. Not one OS, many, many choices. So, given that this is a Linux phone, what's the problem with using or staying with Ubuntu Touch on this? And I'm going to tell you that, because I'm using Ubuntu Touch on this Nexus 5, Ubuntu Touch is a locked down version of Linux. It's not your usual Linux. It's locked down, and it's very locked down on a Nexus 5 or a OnePlus One. The standard one is very, very locked down, and partly it's because of their choices, and the other part is because of the limitations of space on the device and some design changes that were made. The Pinephone version of Ubuntu Touch does not have that limitation, folks. The Pinephone version of Ubuntu Touch does not have the same limitations. This, guys, is a different Linux. Let me tell you the difference. This Ubuntu Touch on a Nexus 5 is running Linux kernel 3.4. Ubuntu Touch 16.04. This Pinephone is running mainline Linux 5.4. This is a mainline Linux phone. That's a big difference, guys. This one is running as a guest of Android. Android is still the host here. Android is still hosting Ubuntu Touch. There's no sucking Android on this. Nothing. There is nothing here but pure Linux. This is like a PC. Okay, so this is running mainline Linux. Okay, this one is running something from Canonical called Mir. That's display driver that is being used here. It's called Mir, M-I-R. Mir was made by Canonical, and guess what? It only works with things that Canonical wants it to work with, and it's very, very limited. It's very, very hard to make apps for this because of this mirror. Okay? Well, this also uses mirror, Ubuntu Touch here, but it's a new version of mirror, and the new version of mirror here supports something that is the same as what's used on the Librem 5 and on anything else Linux. It's called Wayland. This supports Wayland. This uses a new mirror that supports Wayland, which means for all intents and purposes, this is a standard Linux phone. In fact, if they convert the OS from Ubuntu 16.04 to the current one, which is Ubuntu going to be 20. Presumably 04, so when it comes out in April, so when they have a new one of this using Ubuntu 20, this will be a standard Linux device. That is one of the biggest drawbacks to using Ubuntu Touch, was they were limited because this was stuck to the old world with some old technology because of mirror, because of Ubuntu 16.04, and some other limitations that prevented other apps from running. That is not, I actually tested this, okay? I actually, did apt get on anything, and it actually got it. There was no space limitations. Everything worked on this, with some problems still with a display driver, but I think that's going to be resolved. There's still some missing pieces in the display driver, the mirror one. They need something called, I don't know what it's called, an X version of mirror. Are they going to call it X mirror? I don't know what it's called. But it's a X Wayland version of mirror that will support some old apps that run X Windows. So when they do that, this will be a standard version of Linux. Now, you might ask, why do I care? Well, as a developer, many things I make does not work on the Nexus 5 version of Ubuntu Touch, which uses the old one. Okay, this is the old one. The one on the Pinephone is not yet released, but this will be the next version of Ubuntu Touch. And when this is released, this is going to be standardized on all. And this is going to be the new Ubuntu Touch. And this will be very, very flexible in comparison. I am very excited. And this will work for me. So, and it's a Debian based distro. So I can do normal Debian things. I tried doing Postmarket OS and doing things using Postmarket OS, which is the distro that comes with Plasma Mobile and all the other stuff that are being taught is going to be working for the Pinephone. But to be honest with you, Postmarket OS is bare bones. Bare bones. And the problem with that is a lot of apps that I like to use are not available because the app makers have not bothered to distribute it on the Alpine Linux platform, which is what Postmarket OS is based on. So things, for example, for ham radio, I can't run it on Postmarket OS. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but it's a lot of work. I got to go, research incompatibilities and compatibilities and load libraries and so on by app, and it's going to be a terrible amount of work to do. So it's a bit tedious to do. So I said, would it be better to do this than to do something based on Debian? Now the Librem 5 is using Pure OS, which is actually Debian based, so that's actually very close to what I'm talking about. So that will work too. So when I get the Librem 5, that's going to be very, very positive as well. So anyway, the Ubuntu Touch platform, I bet you will be ready in as little as a month, and most of it should be running in as little as 2 weeks. Now let me just tell you what's not running on here, and some of the current issues, which I haven't mentioned so far. Okay, so you already know about my problem with the kill switch. I don't think the kill switches are functioning as intended right now, so we'll wait to hear about that. So I don't have an answer yet from Pine64 on that. So they may have to change, track the circuitry and see if there's any problem with the way they did the wiring for that. In case they have to change the motherboard. But that aside, let's just talk about this for getting into daily driver level. Okay, so problem number one here is power management. So at the moment, and this is what, at the current moment, this is using a battery at the rate of about 17% an hour. So at that rate, I can't imagine this going beyond 5 hours at the current rate. And it's warm. I mean, in fact, if you put them side by side, this is the Nexus 5, very cold. The Pinephone is slightly warm, especially on the Quectel modem. The modem is the one that seems to be taking a lot of power. So the Pinephone does not have all the power management yet. They are working on that. I am aware that they're working on that. Ubuntu Touch obviously does power management on this, and that works, so they certainly have something to copy. So, but I thought they had a fix. I tried it. It didn't really work yet. So I'm expecting that that's probably their top priority right now is power management. As you know, the Librem 5 doesn't even last 2 hours. This, at the moment, will last probably, to be frank, between 4 and 5 hours before it runs out of power. That's what, probably no power management whatsoever. So power management is the number one problem. Okay, now, does the Wi-Fi work? Yes, the Wi-Fi works fine, so they solved that already. So I'm using Ubuntu Touch on the Wi-Fi. I don't have any issues. Wi-Fi seems to work fine. What else is the problem with this? The camera doesn't work. Okay, so is there an issue with that? Actually, no. I'm aware that you can interact with a camera by command line. So, which means all they have to do is put the hook into the camera app, which probably no one has worked on yet because they have other priorities, and it should be able to do the camera and the video. So that to me is just mechanical work that somebody already knew what the commands are to do it. Now you might be surprised, but on a Linux phone, a lot of the commands to turn on devices are really just done by bash scripts. So the bash scripts just get hooked on, meaning if you click on the user interface, it runs the bash scripts. They just haven't put that hook in, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's just, it's just on the list of the to-do list. Let's talk about the LTE data. LTE data you can turn on now by command line. Again, if you can turn on by command line, somebody can attach the code so that when you click on turning on the Wi-Fi, the command line will execute to turn on the LTE. I believe there's a problem with standby. That's one of the issues that they have to resolve, is if it goes on sleep mode, what to do with the Wi-Fi. So they just have to time that so that when it starts up again, they restart the Wi-Fi. I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's easily solved. So a lot of it is just hooks. They're called hooks because it's, people make the user interface so that you click on something here like settings, and when you click on it, it's not calling the right function yet, meaning the right bash script in this case. Most of it are just bash scripts. And so that, is going to be coming. Okay, so can you make calls on this? Again, they proved that you can make a call on the command line. Now you're going to say, well, that's really stupid. Who's going to make a call on the command line? That's not the point. The point is that the technical details of making a call have been resolved. They know how to make the call from the device. I believe there's still a problem with receiving a call, but making a call is already figured out. What they have not resolved on Ubuntu Touch on the calling side is the audio, meaning your microphone and the speaker have to be routed to your ear when the call comes in. And that's not working. But a few hours ago, somebody actually posted the fix to that, which is a kernel update. Somebody has to update the kernel, the Linux kernel, to put a change in the driver to deal with the specific chip that's on here to route the audio. So that's just been identified as recently as today. So I think that's not an issue. That is not the priority at the moment. I don't believe calling is something they even tried to work on yet. I think they're focused on the power management. That's number one issue with this. The other issue that they're working on is the graphic side or graphic acceleration, which has to do with Mir or the Wayland version of Mir that's going to be compatible with everything. Looks like they've made a lot of progress on it. I mean, it is pretty smooth. I mean, it's fast and it looks like it's behaving as normal. It's not as fast as my iPhone, but it runs well. My app Brax.me runs well on it, and I don't really have an issue with it. So I think that hold on. I think that's going to be resolved in a fairly short amount of time. So the power management is a bigger issue. So the guy that is with the Lima project, who mentioned Lima, Isaac Nix. The guy that's with the Lima, one of the Lima devs said that Ubuntu Touch UBports is not using the latest API for the Lima driver, so they're not maximizing on the performance of the graphics. But the actual people who make the graphics driver, meaning Mir, is actually Canonical. So it looks like that's work for Canonical to do, not UBports. So it's working, and Canonical's a bigger company and they can spend the resources to tweak that, and so that at least is somebody else, another party working on it, and Ubuntu Touch itself doesn't have to work on that. App side, everything. Now this is the advantage of UBports among all the other platforms. The apps work. The apps work on Ubuntu Touch. Brax.me is on the open store of Ubuntu Touch, which I put on there. Brax.me is my app. It works. Now it's a little smaller than I want it to be, so that has to be tweaked, but roughly works on the Pinephone. So that's amazing. So apps work. The other platforms don't even have any apps. So Ubuntu Touch is practically ready. It has a nice supply of apps that work. This is, ready to roll if it just gets stabilized. So with the phone calling, so I actually trying to think of what issues there may be. It's because it's mainline Linux. Hopefully the Bluetooth is going to be solved as well. For the car Bluetooth. The car Bluetooth doesn't work too well on the Nexus 5 as far as phone calls. But this is mainline Linux, so there's a possibility that this may not have the same issue. So I'm much more excited about the possibilities for this. So, and this has a lot more space. You can put up to 1 terabyte here, 2 terabytes I believe on an SD card, and so it has a lot more space than it's available on the Ubuntu Touch. This is 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes depending on the model. This one is 16, and for development work, this one can go 2 terabytes. So there's just a lot more possibilities with this. And I told you this is like a Raspberry Pi with a screen and LTE. It's like Raspberry Pi with an LTE and a touchscreen. So $450. You can't do that. You can't get a Raspberry Pi with battery and touchscreen and LTE for $150, and not in this form factor. Per Scientia ad Astra. Okay, so let me look at the comments here. Do all the small fixes contribute to Linux on smartphone? Yes, they do. Does UT have support for Signal Messenger? No, don't use Signal on it. There are many, many options. Why use Signal? I don't like Signal, guys. It requires my phone number. I don't like anything that requires my phone number. Brockstat.me is on it. Use that instead. Open source. It's only one kill switch in this phone was made so people can find issues like that. Kill switches should work. Yes, that is an issue. Mir is worked on by Canonical. Yes. I'll call Jenny via command line. There you go. But it has hardware that actually supported, unlike everything else in the market right now. People get so for developers, it's called Braveheart for a reason. It's not gonna. You don't have to be so brave in the next batch. It does look great. Track Isaac Nix. Sounds like very early days. The kill switch is not a deal killer. And the kill switch is not a deal killer. It's it's more important to get it running. It's still a Linux phone, so I prefer it with a kill switch, but if the kill switch is not running on the Braveheart, hopefully they'll get it running on the other one, on the next version. But it's still it's 10% of the issue. A port of PG phone will secure the voice data. Front cam seems to be unavailable. Correct. The front cam is a big issue. I don't think they have the drivers for that on Linux phones. So the front cam is something that's probably going to be stuck for a while. People can't stand being told the truth, and abysmal as 4 or 5 years maximum. I'm usually near an outlet. Mr. Squishy, 4 to 5 hours without any power saving. When power saving is activated, you will easily get 12 hours on it. Okay? That's what they project. This is only a couple of weeks, maybe a week away. Maybe a few days away. Okay? So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to tell you it lasts 12 hours. That's from what I know. Okay? So I'm not, that's not concerning to me. Let's see. What else did I miss? Bluetooth for calls. Somebody making mod is getting ugly in here. Wi-Fi, some upcoming power improvements. Maggie ported a newer driver that reduces power consumption. Okay, that's very, very cool. What else? Okay. What am I missing from comments? I'm leaning more towards hiding from surveillance capitalism. Yeah, you should. I believe you need to use a wireless display or adapter, but not positive. You mean for desktop? Yes. You have to put an adapter on it. Let's see. Russia's old space station? No. Order phone, it seems to send to you out of state. Pop as smeary as it can. Phone encryption? No. But Mac OS is a fork of FreeBSD? Yes. 2004 will not be 2004. It'll be 2006? 20 something. Okay. So anyway, my conclusion is I'm very proud of the people at Ubuntu Touch. They're doing a great job. And now I don't agree with everything that Ubuntu Touch people do. Some of them are kind of set in their ways on the interface because that's what they used, and they don't want to compare it to anything Android or iOS, even though we don't have a choice. We have to compare what people are used to, and if there's something in the app that can be improved, then they should have an open mind. Some of them do not have that kind of open mind and will argue with me about it, but that's okay. They have a right to do that. And at the moment, though, I still, I still support Ubuntu Touch. It's going to be the number one ready option at the moment. Clearly, within a month's time, and this is going to be ready. Okay, so hello, Lenny PR. Hello, Lenny PR. So drill a hole in the back cover and you don't need to carry a toothpick. You just need to use the SIM card. The SIM card can flip the switch. So in 5 years, what do we have is a highly modified fork of the Linux kernel used with mobile hardware, or the same kernel as in our desktop, just with the added compatibility. The newer versions of Linux phones, like the Librem 5 Purism, is mainline Linux, just like the Pinephone is going to be mainline Linux. And the difference will just be called responsive, meaning you have to have a touch screen and have a responsive interface that it sizes to the screen size. And it's just a touch interface, which is, you could do that on a website. So obviously that's once there's products that use it, apps can change to utilize that. So that's quite doable, and then people can even fork and modify existing products to use that. So for example, you can load GIMP, and I tried actually loading GIMP on a Pinephone using Ubuntu Touch, and you can actually install GIMP, and it fails only on the graphics side because of the work that needs to be done on Xmir, or whatever they call that, X Windows version of Mir, which apparently is not ready yet. When that's ready, this will work. So it can work with a lot of old apps, and they just have to be resized to fit the screen. So, it kind of looks like a half screen, and so or a third of a screen sideways. And is that really difficult to do? No, that can easily be done. Mainline Linux means it's using the latest Linux kernel, which means whatever is new with Linux, you can put it on here. So that's what mainline means. By the way, guys, there are hundreds of you that have already been here watching my channel and my live stream. Please hit that like button if you like what I'm talking about, or if you really like the iPhone, hit the dislike. If you're fond of the iPhone, then hit the dislike, but if you are interested in what I'm talking about, hit the like button so that Google thinks that we're good guys here. So yes, hit the like button. A lot of you watch the channel and don't hit the like button, and there's 140 some of you here right now, and only 69 of you have hit like. So thank you. So hit that so that we need to convince an algorithm, not real people, but an algorithm has to decide if this channel is worth watching. So I spend a lot of time researching this. It's every day. I spend hours and hours trying to make this work. I actually did a lot of programming in this Pinephone here, and it's very easy to access this using, if you know Linux, you use SSH. So I connect this with a USB cable to my computer, and I access SSH, and I can go into here and do everything. And I do, apt get install and find out all the bugs and some libraries and so on. And it's there's so much I can do because it's Linux. And I can install things, and you can see, icons pop up on the screen as I install. It's really, really neat. So there's potential here as somebody like me who's an app developer of what I can do with this phone later on. So I'm really excited about the possibilities once this gets to be stable. And I think that the power problem is going to be resolved. I think that's the top priority right now. That's the reason they're not working on calls and LTE data and all that, because they think those are easy. The problem is power management. And power management is their top priority. And I think that's going to be resolved first. It's one of the first ones to get resolved. Again, guys, hit that like button if you find this channel interesting. If not, then hit the dislike. It's okay too. So just give an opinion. Whatever your opinion is, hit like or dislike. If you don't like what I say because you like, you like spy phones, it's okay. I'm not going to get mad at you. You can like a spy phone if you want. Okay, so let me look at the questions here. Pinephone Pro uses a different SoC. No, the old Pinebook uses the same chip as the A64, which is in the Pinephone. The original Pinebook is A64. The Pinebook Pro uses the ROC 64 chip. I just bought a OnePlus 5T thinking I would put a LuneOS on it, but you mentioned Ubuntu Touch on the 3T. Should I hold out for UT on the 5T or move to a Nexus 5? 5T is not on the list in the immediate future. It's going to take a while. I would say get a Nexus 5. Again, I have a stock this week. I mean, this is kind of daily. I already sold from last few days. I already sold several of these. So, but I got a few more. So if you want a Nexus 5, what I do is I buy them at cost between 60 to 70 bucks. From 50 to 70 bucks, depending on the condition of these phones. And then I add $99 for my time to install Ubuntu Touch. And then if you want them, I have them. Okay, go to my store, contact me, and Brax@me. And this is definitely a way to start. And you can get into being on a Linux phone and then worry about getting a Pinephone, a Librem 5, and all that a little later when those are stabilized. They're not yet ready. So I wouldn't recommend you just jump in and get a Pinephone even if it were available today, which is not. There are no longer any Pinephones you can buy as of the moment. You have to wait till their next production run. So in the meantime, there's no reason why you couldn't be on a Linux phone that does not spy on you. There is no spying from Google, Apple, any app on a Linux phone. None. Okay, so if you think, who can spy on you on this? Yeah, the government can spy on your baseband modem, but no one else can. Okay, so no one else can. This pretty much blocks your information from leaking, and no one can sell your data. So can you imagine a combination? If you want to think security for yourself, do it as I have. And I have two things that I use for my security. And one is this. This is a VPN router. And this is one of my latest versions. And this one, what's unique about this is now doing wired. So you can configure this as a wired VPN. Not wireless, but wired, so you can actually route your entire house traffic on this. And so that your entire house is on a VPN. And I have a video on my home network setup. Go watch that video so you know what I'm talking about. And if you have a Linux phone, think about the fact that you stop leaking data almost immediately, just with those two things. You stop leaking data. Well, you have to leave Facebook. You do have to leave Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, I can't fucking help you. But if you can eliminate Facebook and you have this, a Linux phone, like a Nexus 5, and a VPN router, it's like, oh my gosh. Suddenly nobody's selling your zucking data. Blackberries have a problem because Blackberries are only useful for calling and texting. You can't really use the internet on them. So, yes, Blackberries work fine, but they're kind of backwards. You know, you do want to be able to use some apps and be able to do things like use Brax.me, my app, and be able to communicate with people, which you can do easily with Brax.me. And you can do that with these, and they have, a normal interface, and it works fine. The problem with the BlackBerry is that, the browser doesn't work with any new website, and it's a very small screen, and you know, and that's what I used before. I sold my BlackBerry 9900. If you want that, they're still safe, but they're not as functional as a Nexus 5. So for now, the Nexus 5 is a solution. This could be the solution for a big chunk of 2020, and then, you know, a little later, then you can think about, you know, a Pinephone and a Librem 5. Either one. So disappearing from Zuckbook is the first but hardest step. Not hard for me. That's easy. Come on, Rob. You think they're going to surrender the millions they make from our data when they give a little? They have just opened another backdoor that allows them the same. Sure, Kelp. Derived from Mac based on FreeBSD. Must be talking about Mac OS. Okay. Again, if you want to stabilize the data leak about yourselves and about your family and everything you do, these two little things is just such a major effect. VPN router and a Linux phone running at the moment Ubuntu Touch. I'll recommend others when they're available, but at the moment, you know, this is enough to make a huge dent in your privacy. Huge. Big dent. I mean, from private parties, excluding the government, I would say that the safety is close to 100%. The government is an issue because they rely on a SIM card, and they can track you by the SIM card. So if you take out the SIM card, that stops. So I can't help the government. You know, it's something that it's pretty hard to evade. So will you send those to post office boxes? Yes, I will send them to post office boxes. Kelp. Next step is a kernel. It's an OS. Okay, so you guys are arguing about FreeBSD. Go ahead, keep arguing about FreeBSD and macOS. Pretty sure I remember watching a Landrick video interviewing a FreeBSD developer. Okay, you can argue about that. Do you use older RIM devices with PIN images? Was that E2E device encryption? Not sure, because I've never really used an old RIM device, Jellyfish. The reason they went with A64 is because of cost and also the thermals. A64 runs much cooler than even a Librem, much cooler. The Pinephone is warmish, mostly on the modem. I don't actually feel any heat from and I don't really know where the CPU is, but I can tell you right now the heat is right here. I can feel it right now. It's warm. It's not hot. It's warm. Right here, and what's over here? The Quectel modem. Okay, I can tell you right now that, you know, in my opinion, 90% of the heat is coming from the modem. Cell modem. So the CPU is not running hot on it, but it needs to go on standby. Do you go to the ham swap meet at the end of the month? No, I guess what do I need as a ham swap meet? There's the ham swap online at QRZ. You can buy stuff there. Although I don't, you know, I have enough stuff. Their strategy is much better than the Librem 5 for Braveheart. The current low budget, low performance wins because it lowers the entry barrier for potential early contributors. I think the Pinephone will do great. Okay. Does it perform much better than a Nexus 5? Actually, no. So if you're looking at these two and saying which one runs faster, I would say they're about the same. The difference is, from a developer point of view, what I can do with this. This is a full Linux device that has unlimited space. There's no Android in here. So somebody like me, I need this. Do you all need this? Well, maybe not yet, until the time comes. You can use this for now. The Nexus 5. So I can also suggest the 1+1, but the problem is that the 1+1s are kind of harder to find. So this is more of a development platform. Somebody actually stated that correctly. And, it's, if you're a consumer, you may say, well, do I really need what this has to offer and paying the extra price for it? Maybe not yet. You may not realize the benefit of this yet. So for now, why wait? You can use a Nexus 5. Okay, and this is my 16 gigabyte Nexus 5. I have a 32 gigabyte as well. Oh, this one is like such great condition, I have to say. I mean, it's so clean. But I'll sell this if you say, I want that red one. Okay, this is the 16 gigabyte one. If you want the red one, fine, I'll sell it to you. I'm using this for now. But, I'll switch to the beat up one if you want. Disappearing from okay, what am I missing here? The Android host is just the Android kernel. Okay, so this one is running Android 3.4, which is an old kernel. This one is running Linux 3.4, Linux 5.4, even though they're both running Ubuntu Touch. This is a mainline Linux version. By the way, this is not the same version of Ubuntu Touch. So some of the operations I do here, like this one is called the app drawer, doesn't exist on the Nexus 5 yet. But it should, when this gets released, it's going to go to the Nexus 5 as far as the UI changes. This is the new version. So when this is called On the Air Update 12, OTA 12, when this is released, the Nexus 5 is going to have it as well. Okay, so Open Indiana ain't too shabby. Okay, what else am I missing here? You guys are still arguing about Mac OS and FreeBSD. Okay. Are you liking it so far? Yes, I am definitely very excited by the possibilities of this. I've been doing some programming on this and on Ubuntu Touch, which is so difficult to do on the Nexus 5 because it doesn't have the same version. This is a newer version of Ubuntu Touch. And I was almost able to get my app running on it. Almost everything ran except for things related to GTK, which I can actually change. Everything else installed. So the newer version of Ubuntu Touch on a Pinephone will be much more productive for me later on. This is going to be exciting. I have a lot of hope for this. So yes, I definitely am enjoying this. And for those of us who have Braveheart, and some of you have Braveheart, and you are probably enjoying the process, even though you can't use it yet. But you know that you'll be able to use it in a month, or sooner, 2 weeks. And it's just, the possibilities are amazing. Docking options, video out, Bluetooth. Yes, you can actually do video. It's USB-C. This is USB-C, so you can plug in. I believe it has HDMI support on USB-C. Okay, so you can likely put. I don't know about keyboard support yet, but that's a standard USB-C, so you can probably put it on a hub and try that. So don't know yet. I haven't tried that. Again, guys, there's hundreds of you watching the stream. So if you like the video, please hit that like button. in case you haven't done so, or dislike button, whatever you feel like hitting, and that would be so appreciated. Just give an opinion and hit the like or dislike. If you're a big supporter of Tim Cook and iPhones, then you probably want to hit the dislike, since I don't like spy phones. If you like a spy phone, you probably need to hit the dislike button, thumbs down. But if you don't like spy phones, then you probably would want to hit the thumbs up. So hit the thumbs up on the video if you like my live stream, and I really would appreciate it. Okay, so what else did I miss in a comment? So the only difference is a better GPU performance on what? There's GPU performance on what? What are we comparing? Are we talking about Librem 5 versus a Pinephone? The difference between a Pinephone and Librem 5 is very, very slight. The GPU is slightly faster on the Librem 5 raw, but the software is not using GPU acceleration yet on either one. So at the moment, nobody's really utilizing that yet. So GPU acceleration has to be used, but if used, the GPU on the Librem 5 is a slightly newer version and should run just a tiny bit faster, maybe 20% better from a GPU side than the Pinephone. CPU, again, about the same. The Librem 5 should be about 20-25% faster CPU-wise than a Pinephone, but it's not going to be double or triple in speed. The difference is very slight. Okay, from my experience here, the Pinephone is about the same speed as the Nexus 5. It's about the same. Okay, from my actual use. An iPhone is a lot faster, yes. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you straight out. Yeah, a Pinephone is a lot faster. I mean, a iPhone is a lot faster. It's not exactly the same because the Librem 5 has an additional. So the Librem 5 has a, I believe, there's an extra CPU. So they're using A53, the A53 ARM chip 4-core, but the Librem 5 has an extra core. I'm trying to remember, was it an A72 core or another A53? I can't remember right now, but there's an extra core. I don't know what that's going to be used for, but there's an extra core on the side for some tasks that can be used on the Librem 5. So it's not a big difference. The same basic CPU. The clock speed, I think one is 1.2 gigahertz and the Pinephone is about 1 gigahertz. So again, that's very, very minor difference. The GPU, the version on the Librem 5 is a little newer Mali GPU versus the older one that's on the Pinephone. So like a model newer. So the GPU should be slightly faster on the Librem 5. But we're not talking about double the speed. It's not even close to that. I think that the difference in speed based on specs will be more along the lines of 20-25% at the most. So the difference in price is 400%. No more. 500% difference in price. So the Librem 5 is 500% more expensive. Now, having said that, I bought a Librem 5. So if some of you are saying that, I'm putting down any project, not correct. I bought a Librem 5. I just won't get it for a while. And when I get it, I'll talk about it. I'll test it and put it the same things. And what's nice about the Librem 5 is using Phosh, which is a mainline Linux. I am using Phosh on the Pinephone so I can check out what they're doing on it. It's very basic so far, but should work, and I'm expecting good things from that as well. So the Ubuntu Touch is a much more mature project. Okay, Ubuntu Touch is very mature. So if you want something to work and be able to be functional for day-to-day use, Ubuntu Touch will be your solution. The other solution, of course, that's very close to being functional, let me talk about that now, is Sailfish OS. Okay, but there are a lot of issues with Sailfish OS because Sailfish OS is only partially open source. So Sailfish OS is open source as far as making it work on a phone, but a lot of the apps are not open source. There's support for Android, and that's not open source. So Sailfish OS has a more Android-like experience in that everything is working and it looks good. And you have to buy their OS in Europe. They don't sell it in the US. So, you have to kind of say you're in the EU if you want to download it. And at the moment, I don't have a phone. Although I have Sailfish OS downloaded, I don't have a device that will work with it. It only works at the moment with a Sony Xperia X and various versions of Sony Xperia X. Some people have had parts of their Librem 5 plastic melt during charging because of the SoC getting hot in the battery heat. Yes. The Librem 5 is much hotter. I can tell you right now that because this is based on a CPU that's kind of been around for several years, this does not run hot. If anything, the heat from the Pinephone is more from the Quectel modem. I don't feel any heat from the CPU itself. So yes, it's warmish compared to a Nexus 5, but it's definitely not hot. It's not hot, just warm. Okay, so, is there a wiring kind of issue on the Librem 5? I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's any major one here, except for my issue with the kill switches. 4 times cut out so far. Not on my end here, Mickey Leaks. Yeah. Definitely not on this side. Got to go. Wife just made it home. Good luck with the Pinephone. Thank you. Fake name. Good luck with FreeBSD. Nexus 5 is GSM. These are GSM. LTE actually. Nobody makes, CDMA anymore. This is LTE, so should work with anything with LTE on it. Yeah, this Nexus 5 is a pretty standard phone, so it should work with anything with LTE. So I think the Pinephone Librem 5 will not really be much different at all. Librem 5 will likely appear to have slightly better GPU performance and slightly better CPU performance, and more memory, and better camera. Both of them have a problem with poor Wi-Fi, which is kind of a big thing. Both of them have BGN Wi-Fi. They don't have AC. They don't have 5 gigahertz. So that's kind of sad that, the two Linux phones do not have fast Wi-Fi. So that's sad. So that's a negative. The Nexus 5, a 2013 phone, this phone has AC. So this is actually has faster Wi-Fi than the Pinephone. This is actually, if you're just looking for a daily driver and you don't need to worry about a Pinephone, yes, just order a Nexus 5. So install Ubuntu Touch on it, or buy it from me, and I already have it pre-installed with Ubuntu Touch. Okay, if you want to support this channel, just buy it from me, and you pay for my time to install it. Okay, it will downclock most of the time to reduce heat. I don't think that's just the only issue there. Do I think that the Pinephone is a much better value? it's not even that. The thing is that Purism so far hasn't really engaged the community. First of all, they could have said, well, we'll save up a few Pinephones and give it to the community so they can develop some stuff for it. They actually haven't given any Pinephones to the community. Librem 5 phones. Here I'm doing videos, and I don't have access to a Librem 5. Can you imagine if I had a Librem 5 here and I'm talking positively about a Librem 5? But I can't since I don't have one, even though I ordered it. So they have my money, and I don't have one. So more than happy to say things about it, positive or negative, if I have one, but I do not have one. So it may be summer before you hear me talking about the Librem 5. So other channels have gotten the copy because they have some contacts on the inside which I don't have. So, so no one from Purism has reached out and said, hey, we'll send you an advanced copy. So in the meantime, then I can't talk about that. I'll have to talk about a Pinephone. But once the drivers mature, it should run fine and higher clocks. Right. Hopefully they'll change to a different CPU with the F batch. Possibly, yes, at the F batch. That's very far away. With the extra thermal room. Possible. I don't know. They can try that on the current A64 right now. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. See, the problem is, why is it overheating? The difference between a Pinephone and a Librem 5 is that this one uses the A64 chip and A64 SoC, system on a chip. For those of you who didn't watch my video about what is different between a Librem 5 and why the Pinephone is kind of stepped a little bit faster ahead of the Librem 5, is that this is using a fairly old chip, A64, which is 3 years old at least, maybe even 4. And the A64 chip has been sold by Pine64 for years. And it took them 3 years to stabilize it, to get the drivers out and have the community work on them. And so the A64 they have a lot of experience. Communities, the Linux communities have a lot of experience with the A64, kind of like they have experience with the Raspberry Pi. So this is not a new thing. The only actual new thing on here is the Quectel modem. And I told you that it's only the Quectel modem that's hot. The rest of it is not hot. So they have a lot of experience with this. They know this is not going to overheat because they're already using this as a SBC, single board computer. You can buy A64s with Wi-Fi almost exactly like this, except for the sensors and the Quectel modem. So there are no major mysteries here. All the drivers are mainline Linux. It's really kind of stable. This is why I don't foresee any major issues with this that they have to go figure out. The Librem 5 is completely new design. It's the first time they integrated certain parts. The CPU is new, and who knows? Maybe there's a wiring problem. You don't really know. Maybe they wired something wrong. You can't really tell from this. So because of that, there is definitely more risk than the Pinephone on this. This is much lower risk. The Pine64 guys, TL Lim is the guy, in charge. He did really a good job. He really thought this out. He's an electrical engineer, and most of the work here was done in China. So he's Chinese. He used the Chinese resources to develop this, and they did a good job. That's all I can say. Whoever developed it. Fact of the matter is, you can't argue that they did a good job. So, yes, they even the Pine64 people, they kind of developed this themselves, together with whoever they used, as experts with the Chinese phone market. you know, I think this was developed in Shenzhen, where most of the phones are. And if you don't know where Shenzhen is, there's this guy, I love watching his channel, his Strange Parts on YouTube. And I didn't realize that Shenzhen was right next to Hong Kong. So it's basically, you know, this was developed right next to Hong Kong. And they actually shipped this from Hong Kong. So anyway, this is actually low risk. But the only risk they took here were the kill switches. And if they made a mistake, it had to be in the kill switch. So I'm waiting to hear exactly, you know, if there's any mistake on that or it's something we can solve. So, you know, maybe the kill switch is wired to the wrong thing. Do you kill the power or the ground? You know, that kind of thing. So maybe they killed the wrong thing. So that we'll have to find out. Took multiple revisions. So yeah, so the problem with the Librem 5 is, do they have to change the motherboard, which is a lot more work, versus this? Do they have to change the motherboard on this, or they just have to put it in mass production? Because as far as finish, fit, all that, I think everything else is A-OK on this. Quality is really, really good. Again, if you put this side by side, this is an iPhone and this is a you know, Pinephone, and if you said, well, this is a higher quality than this, no, in brightness and so on, no, it's their screen is just as bright. No, I couldn't tell you that. The CPU on the iPhone is very, very fast, though. There's no argument. The CPU on the iPhone is much, much faster. PS3 free BSD system. So watch Strange Parts. Strange Parts is awesome channel. He built his own iPhone. Yeah, I'd like to do some of the work that he did and apply it to the privacy side. He did a lot of work on RFID, and you know, that's something I want to maybe show you, the danger of RFID, and just taking off from what he learned. Can the Pinephone use USB docks? It's USB-C, so yes, it should be able to use that. The hardware can, yes, but the drivers aren't ready. The kill switches being inaccessible really pissed me off. Okay, so yeah, so they're not as handy, Mickey Leaks, but just show you physically how you do it. So I'm going to open it up right now. Again, I don't have any tools. This is how I can open up the case. Okay, you tell me if this is, you know, how long it takes to open up the case. So if I'm going to go into a meeting and I want to open up the case because I want to do something to kill switch, take off the battery, and what I do is use this SD card as the tool because it has a sharp corner in there, and I can use this to flip the switch. Okay, I can't see. I need glasses. Okay, I just flipped the switch. Oops. I can't see. I need lighting. Kind of dark to do it here. Yeah, my vision is not very good here, but I can reach it. Okay, there. I did it. Okay. So, yes, it's not like the Librem 5, but of course, it's also a fraction of the cost. Okay, so there you go. Now put a cover on, and now switches off. And I've taken this off and opened it, I don't know, 20, 30 times a day, and it's easy. So I hope I don't damage the back cover, but it's really easy to do. So again, guys, there's a lot of you watching the channel. If you like what I talk about, please hit that like button or dislike button. And show your opinion. So yes, please hit the like or dislike, whatever you feel like doing. And I appreciate it. There's been probably hundreds of you that's been watching so far. Okay, normal USB charge is only at 500 milliamps at the moment, so actually loses power in charging through normal USB. I didn't have that problem. Even on a computer, it's charging. It's a slow charging, so it's still charging. It's not a negative. Of course, I use 60-watt power supply for my phone, so it will charge. But if I plug it into my computer, it says slow charging. So it looks easy. Well, except when you're rushing to go to a meeting and you want to shut down the modem because you want to be spied on. You're in a rush. It is kind of inconvenient. It's more convenient to flip a switch. If, let's say you want to go to a protest, you have to, spend a minute to turn off the modem. But I guess you can just remove the SIM card, which is probably even faster. So it can do it as far as hardware goes, but not ready in software. I can't figure it out as what you meant. Okay, so again, for those of you just came in, the story on the software on this is I believe that Ubuntu Touch is going to be the first one to be ready, and they will be ready with a daily driver version. I'm going to guess in a month. I'm also going to guess that they're actually going to be mostly ready in 2 weeks. So a month it will be to just give allowance for bugs to show up. But basically, most of the problems I think they'll resolve in 2 weeks. They're doing so many changes every day. If you just go look at the site, they don't even list what the problems are anymore. It's being changed so fast daily. People are rushing to download. 3,000 of us are downloading changes to this daily. So I'm on build number 220 on this, and I hear build 222 is not stable, so I did not install build 222. I'm going to wait for build 223 tomorrow, and I'm going to see it here. It's changing fast. So a week from now, I'll have a different story. So it could be that most things will be running next week, but I'm going to say 2 weeks for it to stabilize, and then maybe 2 more weeks for bug fixes, and then we're going to be good. Can Pinephone do Minecraft? I don't know. Since I'm not a gamer, I can't tell you what games are on it. If there's a Linux game, if there's a Linux version of Minecraft, then maybe yes. The Lot W Bluetooth works on the Nexus 5, just not the phone calling part of Bluetooth. So you're right. If that's what you're working on, then Nexus 5 will not do it either. But that's not the same problem here, the Lot W, because this is using Android drivers. This is an Android device with Ubuntu Touch. This is mainline Linux. This is running Linux 5.4. So it doesn't have the same Bluetooth problems. So I can't tell you yet since we're not there yet, but this will not have the same Bluetooth problems as the Nexus 5. So wishing the best here. Hopefully that because it's a mainline Linux device, then it should not be an issue. Okay? And the modem and the Bluetooth that comes with is pretty standard. It came with the SoC A64 before, so it's not a new chip. It's not a new chip. So, but it'll be very laggy due to clock speed. Okay? Don't know. Can't tell you. What do you think of the chances are of the plague in China leading to delays in the Librem 5? I know that it's slowing down the Pine 64. The plague. Goodness. Just so you know, you saw in the video, I opened this online. I did not wipe it down. So if this has coronavirus on it, I would have it now, right? So we'll check in 2 weeks. Check next week if I have coronavirus. But I did not wipe this down. I figure a virus isn't going to survive 20 days, with no host. So, you can run Java programs. USB usually only outputs 0.5 amps. This is evidence of the discharging. The red Nexus 5 you have is 16 gigabytes or 32. This is 16 gigabytes. This is 16 gigabytes. But I'm going to tell you that unless you're doing programming work, 16 gigabytes is fine. I've been selling 32 gigabytes, but, not sure why I was worried about that. I don't really... I don't think I'm going to have a problem with 16 gigabytes. So I've been mostly selling 32 gigabytes. So I'm not putting much data on it, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to load it with pictures or anything. Let's see. Yikes, I may get it too. That is the exact same packages run on a Pi. How can I be rich? Halo Sam. Halo San. How can you be rich? Miraculous work. Luck. Hard work will make you successful, but being super rich, if you want to be as rich as Elon Musk, that's luck of the draw. So he means US patented virus. Not the exact same, but Java is meant to be portable. I don't use Java much. Can't say that I like using Java. So most of my apps do not run Java. So I'm not a big Java user. Few times I've used it, I don't need to use it. I mean, it's no big deal. They're all the same to me. Just haven't used it. I prefer more open systems. I just don't like the Oracle connection. I don't want to be dependent on Oracle. I'm sorry I'm late. You may have answered. Is it possible to use a daily driver? Is there a way to use real-time navigation with a GPS? Yes. So this is a Nexus 5. It has UNav. So that does come with a GPS. Let me see if I can launch it here. So the one they use is UNav. Okay, there's UNav. Don't need to show you my location. But anyway, so you can use UNav on it. You can use Google Maps as well. But you cannot use Waze. There's no Waze on here. Screen rotation does not work. Camera does not work. Power management is what they're working on. LTE works by command line so far, so it's not finished yet. Calling works by command line. Receiving calls does not work yet. Audio does not work on the calling. There's a kernel fix that has to be made, and they already showed the code that can do it. Video doesn't work yet. What else? There's some problems with the Libertine container on Ubuntu Touch because I don't think Xsmear is ready yet. That's about the bulk of it. How many of those are serious issues? As far as I know, none. I think that they're all they all have solutions already. It just takes time to get them done, but they all have solutions. So I think that daily driver is, if I were to guess, a month for Ubuntu Touch, longer for the rest of them. A month for Ubuntu Touch. Many of the bugs should be resolved in 2 weeks. So a month it should be stable. It's going to be mostly, I don't know what the status of Bluetooth is other than you can connect by command line. So I don't know about car Bluetooth. I don't have any idea at the moment. They have to get the calling ready yet before we know that. So it's not very far. Couple of weeks we'll probably have, I mean, actually using Ubuntu Touch right now on it, it's actually quite smooth. You know, yes, the calling doesn't work yet, but I have to tell you, as far as interface wise and how it works, it's very smooth now today using Ubuntu Touch. You'd be actually be impressed. So everything seems to work. So it's really, really close. So again, if you don't have a Pinephone yet, if you don't have a Braveheart edition, consider getting a Nexus 5 for now, and using this for now, and because it's about the same speed as a Pinephone, and has faster internet, faster Wi-Fi. And definitely there are no issues, operating this. I mean, it's mostly runs, so it's running well. So it's look good. I'm booting from micro SD card only. Same with me. Okay, so I think that that's what I know from now. And again, if you can actually see how quickly they're making changes at Ubuntu Touch with many people contributing, it's amazing. It's not one person doing it. It's many people contributing to the Ubuntu Touch project, and that's why it's sprinting ahead. It's a community. When you have so many experts in whatever you have an expertise in, and everyone is contributing to it, it just moves a lot faster. Yes, the Zircon, yes, you can do that. That's already proven to work. Are any of the chips user removable on the Pinephone baseband? No, I think that's soldered in. The baseband is soldered in, but the baseband is supposedly connected only to the USB bus. So the kill switch was supposed to allow the USB bus to be disconnected with the switch, but there's a question if they did it right. So I don't know. That's a question. Did they switch off the right cable or circuit? As you know, you can switch off from the ground side or from the power side. Because I'm going to tell you right now that the modem seems to be overheating when it's on power, when it's plugged into USB, with the kill switch off. So there's power reaching the modem. I'm in Dogwood and I'm a student. You're lucky. Well, I'm in Evergreen. And yeah. So it needs a little bit more work compared to UBT to be a daily driver, but it's looking good. Which one are we talking about? Manjaro with Plasma Mobile. Plasma Mobile has a lot more work to be done, to be honest with you. I was trying Plasma Mobile with Neon. Yeah, you see, they're only working on the system apps right now. Ubuntu has other apps. There's already a lot of functioning apps on Ubuntu that have nothing to do with the system app. So that alone is kind of an advantage. So until third parties contribute with apps, you're only working with system apps. So yes, will KDE create, functional system apps and so on? Yes. But will they be able to do, user apps that Ubuntu has? Because I made an app for Ubuntu Touch, and it's in the Ubuntu Touch Open Store, Brax.me. It's on there, and I'm using it on my Nexus 5 and my Pinephone. It works great. So yeah, it's one of the main apps I use, my own, on a Nexus 5. So it's working well. So there's no such app on the other platforms. So that's kind of a disadvantage. Guys, for many of you who are watching and haven't hit the like button, if you're new, if you're just coming in and watching the channel, please hit the like button if you like. If you don't like, then hit the dislike. But appreciate the support, and will keep me doing this if you help me succeed with the algorithm. I'm happy to say, guys, that yes, I'm happy to be approaching 10,000 subs very, very soon. I think within a couple of weeks or less, I'll be at 10,000 subs. So that is like awesome. So happy to reach that. I mean, I've only done this for just a year and a couple of months, a year and a month. Yeah, about a little bit over a year and a month so far, and to be reaching 10,000 in that time frame. By the time we get to a year and 2 months, it'll be amazing. Porgs, have you used Graphene OS? Graphene OS Porgs is first of all, it's Android. Second, it's really not much different than Lineage OS, to be frank with you. I don't see anything in Graphene OS that really does anything different yet. They have a lot of ideas there, but Graphene OS seems to be focused on cybersecurity and not necessarily privacy from what they're working on. So I can't tell you. So at the moment, no, Derek Richards, that I am not at 9.42. That number's wrong. I'm already at 9.5 something already. The number you're seeing is not the right number. I'm past 9.5. I'm probably I'm 9.5 something. Before I started broadcast, I was already at 9.5. So 9.5 plus. Which means there are different bugs to be found in the various Qt versions. KD Mobile and Phosh was new to the game anyway. Yes. It was only 9. Yeah. Unfortunately, you're seeing a different channel number than I see as the owner of the channel. There's a lag. There's something wrong with the reported count. But the actual count that's showing on my thing is higher. It's like 90 higher. So whatever you're seeing, add 90. So I'm past 9,500. So it's amazing. That's pretty amazing to me. So I almost got Linux on iPhones. No, there's no way to load Linux on an iPhone. I know this is tangential, but have any of you gotten one of the new System 76 laptops with Core Boot? I'm using a Star laptop. I'm running a Linux computer. It's on one of my videos where I reviewed System 76, the Librem 15, and the Star laptop. And I bought the Star laptop because it was a lot cheaper. So with my fast CPU, my computer was only $800. So I didn't get a System 76, which would have been a few $100 more. And the Librem 5 was quite a bit more. So I'm broadcasting on a Star laptop Linux computer running Ubuntu 18.04 right now. By the way, I have a video on teaching you some Linux stuff. If you are new to Linux, I'm teaching you how Linux works. If you're on Windows and you want to learn how Linux works, you can load a Windows subsystem on Linux, and then you can do the same commands I've shown you on Linux and run it from Windows using the Ubuntu subsystem. So you're working on a pre-boot Linux system on iPhone. Okay? That's like saying you have Linux on Android by using Termux. That's not really native. If you have more than that in files on your phone, you got problems. Before you do anything else with your admin and guest account names, call guest big boss and admin employee. I won't tell you what I call mine, but pretty similar. That is the point. So, yes. I've not considered getting the System 76 systems before, but now they have open firmware. I'm considering it. Well, I am, like I said, I'm using a Star laptop. Checks in for Linux and Pongo OS coming for the iPhone. I just wanted to thank you, Puwargs. It will be native soon. Well, I don't know what you define by native. Drivers will not be native. What is the advantage of Ubuntu Touch over stock Debian? You mean on a computer? Drivers. Canonical, being a bigger company, spends the time to say, oh, we know what drivers you need on that brand of computer. And there's a higher probability of getting something to work like an older computer. For example, I have a Lenovo T3 here. That's a Lenovo T3 right here. And if you run pure OS, which is Debian, the driver doesn't recognize the Wi-Fi, but if you run Ubuntu on it, it recognizes the Wi-Fi. So that's because the driver is included in Ubuntu, but it's not included in Debian. So there you go. That's an example. So drivers is the main advantage of working with a bigger player. Okay. Although Ubuntu is based on Debian, they may package a driver downstream. Upstream Debian may not have all the drivers. Downstream they have it. Okay. So that's one of the reasons. Anyway, just before I end my broadcast here, I just want to say a few things. One is that I'm aside from my normal videos, I'm squeezing in a Linux tutorial every week. So if you haven't seen that, go watch that one. And that is in addition to my normal videos. I'm going to make a normal video as I do every week, and then I'll do a Linux tutorial and then a live stream. That's to make it three videos a week. Yes, it has the red nub style mouse. Yes. So this is a Lenovo T3, which I should sell. I bought this for $200 last year, and probably can sell it for $100 plus shipping. So anyone wants a Linux computer for cheap? There it is, $100, and that's what I was using as my Linux computer before. Very compatible, runs great actually. No problem with it. It's an i5, runs fine. It has solid state drive and good amount of memory. And the only problem I have with it is that, of course, the screen isn't as bright as newer screens. So if it's not as bright as my newer laptops here. So that's probably the main problem. And of course, CPU is, older. So, but compatibility wise, a lot of people use a Lenovo T3. This is a very, very popular model used for enterprise. This was pretty decked out when it was sold in 2013 or so. Was pretty full of features. So now they're selling it used, and because of all the stuff that's in it, it's actually still running very well. So it was considered high end back in the day, and now it's still faster than some low ends. So it's actually still pretty good. Okay, so I don't know what shipping costs for that, but it's kind of heavy. So I need a laptop, otherwise I'd not be looking. So I'd buy it. But anyway, yes. So this is a Lenovo. I actually have a couple of these, but I'm definitely don't need this anymore. So shipping may be a lot because of the weight. So I'm on Brax.me, Hoisteen. If you want to buy a Nexus 5 phone, I have a few of these. It's on Brax.me. And the pricing of the phone depends on the quality of the phone. And then I add $99 for my time to install the stuff on it. So just $99 for my time, and then whatever the cost of the phone is, which can vary from $50 to $70 plus shipping. So anywhere from so from about 150, or there's older ones even cheaper, but from 150 to 170. And then this is the other device I have, which is a VPN router. This is actually my hot selling item. This is so popular right now. I definitely sell a lot of these, and this is custom case, by the way. This is a Raspberry Pi, which has a router software, but it actually can do wired routing, not just Wi-Fi, and it's a VPN or Tor router. Mostly it's used as a VPN router, and then you set this up. You can actually route your entire house traffic to this. This is gigabit speed, so you can have a gigabit router VPN in your house with this one device. So this is very, very popular because there's no easy solution to do this before. This would have been a very expensive solution, and now it's just a Raspberry Pi. If you want to buy your own Raspberry Pi, my software is only $99. So I basically buy a Raspberry Pi for the cost, add $99, and there you have it. If you're in a different country, just buy your own Raspberry Pi. If you're in the US, I can ship this to you complete. There's no extra charge for Raspberry Pi. I buy it the same price that you would buy it for. I don't make money off the Raspberry Pi. Okay? It's also getting black spots all over the screen from the damage to the LCD screen. Mother Zucker is helping boot edge. In just 2013, that thing costed $700. In just 2013, the thing costed $799. Where are you from? I'm in Los Angeles. Where are you from? So I am broadcasting from Los Angeles, California. Okay, so just my luck, I can't afford to buy a new screen for Lenovo S330. Pure OS on Kodachi 6.3. Okay, ThinkPad X1 was $1,359 back in the... I bet you this was $2,000 when it was new. This is a kind of computer that cost $2,000 new. Now, $100. I bought it for $200, $249, something like that. That was a year ago. So, yeah, $100. So I don't need it anymore. So if you want it, you can have it. All that took for, but there it is loaded. You're about 60 miles away from me. How do I know? It's LA, what part of LA is 60 miles away? You don't know what part I am of LA. I could be in Orange County at the border, in which case 60 miles could be San Diego already. So it depends on where I am. Okay. Anyway, guys, thanks for your support. If you haven't clicked on the like button there, please do so. Watch out for my videos. I have the Linux tips, and then my usual videos that I'm talking about privacy and phones and things like that. And I can't talk about phones all the time. Sometimes I talk about privacy issues unless there's news. And then at the moment, I think because of the number of questions and issues with the Pinephone, I'm going to certainly dedicate a big chunk of my time on live streams to the Pinephone on Friday live streams, likely the following week and a week after that, and and then talk to you about some of the issues related to phones. One of the things that you need to understand is why it's a big deal to dump this. Why is it important to dump an iPhone and use these Linux phones? Okay, and one of the reasons is one of the reasons is location tracking. Your locations are being tracked and sold on an iPhone. Everywhere you go, the iPhone is tracking the location and selling that data. Third parties are selling that data, and it's disgusting what they're doing. The fact that somebody can actually just buy your data and say, where has Crime Stoppers been in the last month? And you can actually buy the data commercially and say, well, Crime Stoppers has been to all these places. And do you really want that? If you're a big supporter of the iPhone, then go stick to the iPhone, because that's what it's going to do. These Linux phones don't have that data. It's just amazing the difference in privacy just by having a Linux phone. It's a big deal. Big sucking deal, because until this year I had no option. I was using a BlackBerry Bold this past year until I got a hold of these. I was using a BlackBerry Bold. Okay? These iPhones just stay home. So that's what I'm saying. Can you get Facebook on it and play Candy Crush? Zuck, yes, but get Facebook and they're going to track you to death. So, yeah. If you want to be tracked, use Facebook. They don't need to location tracking to track Facebook. They have other ways. They even do MAC address tracking. They can't do that, fortunately, on a Linux phone, but they'll do facial recognition on you, so they'll find your location from your friend. Okay, let's meet on Panda Express over there in LA. Lenny PR, Panda Express, Zucks. I think off to bed, y'all. Okay, Drac. JM. John McAfee interview kept getting postponed, so I won't talk about the John McAfee interview until I actually have it. Okay, so the John McAfee interview has been postponed to the first week of March, so that's 2.5 weeks away. So let's not worry about it. It's 2-3 weeks away from now. So it keeps getting postponed, so it's kind of frustrating. So it will come soon. If you have any questions that you'd like me to put on the list, just let me know before the John McAfee interview. Well, when you add a laptop to your store, I'll buy it from you. Have a wonderful... Well, I just got to find out how much shipping is, because it's kind of heavy. So it's got to go in a big box. So it does have solid state drives. It's not going to get, shaken up in shipping. Okay, I'll add it to the store once I find out what the shipping cost is. I'm going to guess shipping is, $20-25. So it's probably going to be $125 to ship, complete. Thank you, Justin Strange. Taking my security cert next month and working towards pen testing. This is awesome. Justin Strange, as you know, I'm a cybersecurity expert. I actually am writing a cybersecurity app for the Linux phones. So I am, I don't just talk to talk, I actually know how to do all this. If you have any doubts about my background, go to my GitHub and look at the cybersecurity thing I'm doing there. I'm building something to put a little bit of the Wireshark capabilities on a Linux phone. So that's one of the things I was trying to do. Okay? Is it better to use WhatsApp? No. Don't use WhatsApp, period. Okay? What is your setup? Setup where? I'm broadcasting on a Linux laptop running Ubuntu 18.04. I'm running Ubuntu Touch on my Nexus 5. I have a Pinephone here running Ubuntu Touch or Postmarket OS or whatever I happen to load for the day. And I have a Pinephone that does not leave the house. And I'm monitoring you on an iPad that doesn't leave the house. So there, that's my setup. My network is being run by a wired VPN of my own product. It's called Brax Router, and which is available from my store. And so that all of my network traffic is on a VPN. So that's how I'm running. And I'm telling you right now, guys, consider, if you are thinking about your privacy and your security being important, these two alone will make such a big difference. Okay? A Linux phone like this is Nexus 5, which is, I have several of these, and a VPN router. And then I have a VPN, Bytes VPN, which you can see up on the screen. These alone will change your security in a big way, as long as you leave ZocBook. If you don't leave ZocBook, then I can't help you. So please subscribe. Hit like on my channel, on my broadcast here, so that Google, YouTube likes my content. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Maybe $70 to India. That was for car audio amp. Yeah, the weight, it's heavy. This thing is, I don't know, 15 pounds at least. What does mounting a drive actually involve under the hood in Linux? Mounting is a logical term. It's like instructing a person inside Linux saying, "Can you mount the tape?" But it's not physical; it's logical. You Skadachi if you want. Hello, Wade Stark. Okay, how do you do for your income? I am 100% doing YouTube, so I don't have much income. My last month's income from advertising on YouTube was, I believe, $141. So your support in buying my products will hopefully keep me alive. At the moment, it's not keeping me alive, but it hopefully will at some point. Polk, in case you didn't know, prior to doing this, I made a good amount of money. Okay, but now I don't do that. I'm doing this full time, and I took the risk to do this full time. So this is the only way I do it, and this is the only way I'm making money, which is very, very hard. So your support, I have a Patreon account. You can support that too. And this is the only way I make a living, and it's a very hard thing to be doing. To be making 3 videos a week is extremely difficult. Some videos take about a week to make. So, if you think a video is just recording it, no. Videos are, to do quality videos, often the research alone takes a week. So So please support the channel whatever way you can. And mostly, just buy if you buy my products, and that's you're helping yourself. In some countries, $140 is a small fortune. Thank you, Mad Cow. In California, I don't think so. Okay, California. Okay, your video on Linux tip of the week, episode 1. Storage is very basic, but it's very helpful for newbies and nice for refresh for others. It's not very basic to me. I don't think so. It's less basic than you think. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Glad to have you here, and I'll see you on the live stream next Friday, and at least a couple of videos coming in the coming week. And please go to my platform as well, Brax.me, and there's a lot of discussions going on there, including on the Pine 64 Pinephone. We have daily discussions on what's new and what is happening to it. Lucas from Pine 64 is there on a regular basis, keeping us up to date as well. Okay, good night, folks. Hello, Bill Michaels. Good night, folks, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you back live stream in a week. Bye-bye. Hit that like.